Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see who's on board. Hello Ruth, hi Donna, hello Catherine, Susan, Tish, hey Tariq, welcome, welcome. And Anne, and I think I'm there. I know there's a bunch of other people, but I don't see who you are until you say something in the chat. So welcome to Amsterdam. I am Mark, and I'm wearing my hat today. Okay, this is like my trademark. It's an orange pom-pom on top of a hat like this, and this started years and years and years ago because when I was doing tours with large groups of people, I didn't want to walk around with an umbrella. I thought that was a bit lame, so I put an orange pom-pom on the back of my hat. So I became the guide with the orange pom-pom. And yeah, here we are. So, hey Marlene, oh, there's loads of people. Emily, Carol, Tony, hi, hello Satyam. Great, welcome all. So it's a bit silly wearing this with nobody following behind me, but I just thought, oh, what the heck. You know, it's one of my trademarks anyway. And you think it's very stylish, thank you, Ruth. So for those of you who have a slicey, there's a little logo of me. Where's my logo? Here it is. This is my logo. So that's me. But anyway, let us get started. So what I've done is, this is number 3 of Detailed Amsterdam 3, and I start more or less in the same place I left off last time. Okay, so let's just swivel us around, and this is more or less where I stopped last time. And that's enough of seeing me. So here we are at what was the mouth of the Amstel River. It's not anymore because it was filled in a bit, but these buildings that are going down into the water are very pretty. Not much of a reflection at the moment because of all the canal boats. These canal boats here. And but here we are on one of the piers, and there's a rather lovely elephant here. Look at this fella. How's the reception, everybody? Welcome, Helene. Is it looking okay for you? It's great. Thank you, Ruth, for letting me know. Okie dokie. Well, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk west from here. And actually what I decided to do is I'm going to go back for all of these, and I'm going to actually draw the route on a map, and I'm going to put that in the comments if it's possible to put a picture in the comments. I don't know. But last week I was talking about this building here, the Lloyd building. That's what I ended with, and the statues by Mendes de Costas. So this week, let's head down that little alleyway. Can just dash in between these cars. Jaywalk in the best Amsterdam tradition. And let's see, I think the phone's a bit skew in the gimbal, so there, that's a bit better. Oh, so here we go. So I'm walking from the quayside of what was the quayside of the Amstel River, and up a little alleyway, slightly upwards in elevation. We're walking up onto one of the old dikes that ran along the edge of the river. I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere. This is called the Nieuwendijk. The new dike. It was new once upon a time, of course. And being a man-made bank of earth, that's why it goes up slightly in elevation. And we're walking away from, let's see, where I want to go. Oh, I know where I want to go. I want to go this way. Anyway, up onto the shopping street dike. So here we are. And what was the stone you polished earlier from Dawn? Dawn, in a previous tour, what I polished was one of the stumbling stones. I think that's what you're talking about. And I'll be doing that again. Actually, the one that I polished is in need of polishing again, I saw the other day. So I was scouting a route to walk, and I looked at Cafe van Beren here. I thought, well, it's got such a lovely shop front. Let me try and work out something about it. You know, it's got a really super front. Have a look at this. Beautiful. Olga showed many stumbling stones in Berlin today. Yes, that is where the whole stumbling stone thing started, certainly. Anyway, I do like this look of this bar. It's really great, but I couldn't find out much about it. But it's got this sort of Amsterdam school look to it. Look at the lovely windows up here, almost like a deco kind of feel, and very pretty lampshades. You can see them inside. And then, so I was looking online for some information, any information about this building. I couldn't find anything, but then I stumbled across TripAdvisor. And there are quite a number of people who've left terrible reviews for this place. And it's just really funny to read the response of the owner. He just rips them to shreds. It's just like quite hilarious, the responses. It's worth a read. I've definitely got to go in for a drink, possibly after this tour, and just say hi. One thing to show you just quickly is one of the famous coffee shops in Amsterdam. Yeah, Marlene, he takes no prisoners, eh? Phew, absolutely. It's 420. Now, I'm not sure if y'all know, but 420 is slang or code for cannabis, and that's actually comes from the States, but obviously that makes it a very good name for a coffee shop. Coffee shops are where they sell cannabis and hashish. That is technically illegal, but it's tolerated. Okay, so let's go yonder. Now, down off the other side of the dike, and this is a little alleyway, and it's called Kolksteeg. Let me find that for you. Here you go. Koggesteeg. Now, kolk is a word for a channel of water. It's like a narrow channel of water, and a steeg is an alleyway. So they're kind of covering all bases. I don't know, what does 420 mean? Well, it was started by a group of friends who were looking for an abandoned weed plantation, and they used to meet at 4:20 to have their little meeting to try and find this place, which is why that code became 420, and then actually the 20th of April as well has now subsequently become sort of an important day in the weed calendar. Anyway. Now, Burger Bar is actually really good. It's a chain, and their burgers are fabulous. When I eat, and I just go for the ordinary one. They've got all sorts of different fancy meats and everything. I just go for the simple one, which is the Irish beef, and it is absolutely delicious, and their fries are great as well. So, Burger Bar is definitely somewhere to look out for. So we're in a little alleyway that probably once upon a time was actually a little channel, hence the name Kolk. And your address used to be 420, Dawn. That's hilarious. Okie dokie. And here is one of the really famous specialty beer bars, and it's called de Wildeman. And they've got about well in excess of 200 different types of beers. And it was a liqueur distillery, or liquor distillery probably, more than liqueur. So you can see that here. Now, some buildings are broken down in 1908 to make room for this distillery here. Check it out. And at number 1, so that's Koggesteeg, okay, and this part here is Nieuwezijdskolk, which is actually a different name of alleyway. And then part of this building, oops, so I stand in a puddle, which is from the early 1900s. There's actually a gable stone here, which is pretty interesting. No grolsch, definitely no grolsch. Check out this gable stone. And it says here, the 4 crowned evangelists. Okay, now I had to make a note of this. Let me see what we got here. From left to right, we have Luke with an ox, John with an eagle, Matthew with an angel, and then Mark on the right with a lion. Okay, there's quite a few lions on gable stones that look like that, and they look like mangy dogs, frankly. But anyway, that's what the gable stone artists used to think lions looked like. And they are sitting at a table, and there's paper on the table, and they have a quill and ink So they're writing. Let me try and zoom out a bit again. So that's the idea of it. They're evangelists. They're writing down their stories. And this, from an old diagram of... Oh, sorry, I still haven't got the... There we go, I've zoomed out. Old drawings from that period show... An old photograph, actually, I think. Showed the number 1 building here with this way higher up. But it was obviously taken out and kept. And there was probably a printer's industrial, how do you say? Business there, which is why they would have chosen that evangelist with the quill and the paper. Okay, so we had a liquor distillery here. And just over this side, on the other side, we have it's called the Kornmetershuisje. And this was the corn measurers' house, so the guild that looked after the quality within the corn industry. Okay, so make sure that it was fair, to make sure that the quality of the corn was correct, that all the measurements were also correct. And just behind, there really is like a little working corner. It says eierhandel, it says an egg handle over here. So you had corn, you had egg, you had liquor. And coming around the side, it was beer. And here a beer handle. So you could pretty much get whatever the hell you wanted. And oh, Marlene, my research, well, you know, I have researched a little bit for this, but I mean, when you live here, you kind of, and you're a tour guide, let's face it, I guess you get to know stuff. I look at rooftops too. Many of the things in my area I missed. Yeah, rooftops are great. So let's have a look at the Kornmetershuisje. So this is very rare because it's one of the very few freestanding buildings right in the center here. And, you know, most of the buildings are butted up against other ones. Not this one. And it's been through various renovations when it was messed up and then made good again. And just going to pick my way through various tables here. Sorry, so this is good old Dutch Renaissance again. Renaissance style. This was built in 1620, which is just at the end of the Dutch Renaissance period. And up above the main entrance here, you see that there is, just zoom in for you, there's all sorts of the accoutrement that would have been used in the job of managing the corn industry. So big spades there for scooping it and weighing it and all that type of stuff. Why Dutch Renaissance? Well, the arches. And Dutch Renaissance actually featured a lot of orange brick. And then because Gothic, which preceded it, had been so vertical in its lines, the Dutch Renaissance period went very horizontal, with horizontal lines of stonework. And there are other motifs as well, like these little dormer windows and that type of thing. Yeah. Okay, so that is the corn measurer's house, and I know actually, I'm sure it was with Donna, wasn't it with you, Donna, when I was walking, and I hadn't told you what this was yet, and you went, oh, that looks like a corn measurer's house, and it was. Brilliant, I love it. Okay, and let's see. Okay, so a lot of restaurants that I would never go to here. I mean, that's not really fair. I haven't tried them. But yeah, they don't inspire me with confidence. And here is the rather modern-looking police station. The police station used to be in the red light area where it was sorely needed, and they moved it here. And so you see how they write police here? Politie. Once upon a time, I brought somebody from a tour, at the tail end of a tour here. He was a policeman and he wanted to exchange, you know, the lapel badge things, whatever they call them. And indeed, that's what police do all over the world. So he did that, and the policeman here went and got him one from here, and he very proudly pointed at the letters, and he said, look, this is how we spell it, because we're very polite. Okay. Yes, Tariq, these are indeed very touristy restaurants here, but it's a beautiful little square. And there's one of the long-established local bike companies here, Yellow Bike Tours and Rentals. And now, it's all roadworks here at the moment. There's been a lot of those happening for ages. But this, and I know I've said this to some of you before, and I've explained before, but why this road is so wide. This is much, much wider than any other roads in the center. And it looks very canal-like, frankly, with the canal houses on each side. And that is because it was a canal. Straightening the phone a little bit. It was a canal. But some of the canals had to be filled in. And this one was filled in the late 1800s. And that was, think of these tracks here, because they needed space to put... the video is a bit blurry. Oh, okay, well... Donna, I'm not sure what the story is, if it's all a learning thing. So far it's been okay, so I haven't had to look into any other streaming packages on YouTube. But maybe, oh, you know what? I just need to turn my Wi-Fi is off. Okay. Wherever you, there you are, still there. Okay, they filled in the canal so there was room for trams. And here comes one. Whether you call it a tram or a streetcar or a trolley. They needed to make room for these trams, but they weren't like this. Initially they were horse-drawn and then replaced by electric. So that's why the Nieuwezijds Voorburgwal, which is the name of this canal, was filled in. And let's cross over. Yeah, it's kind of nice, the swapping of the patch. Somebody was, I always forget, when people are watching this again, you can see the chat, so it's okay. So it's not going to be completely weird that we talk about random things, because you can see the chat on the side. This was also a street with a lot of newspaper offices in it, and here is one of the old buildings from that. They have moved elsewhere. It's called De Standaard, so the standard. Here. Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. Hi. So I just want to show you something because I found a lovely old photograph showing when this was a canal. And let's try and find the perspective, exactly where it's taken from. Hang on a second. This is so old that anyone can use it. So check out over there. And there's the Kornmetershuisje, and this in front of me was a canal, and here is a photograph taken more or less from here, showing it still as a canal. And there we go. And this is from the late 1800s, obviously, because the canal was still here. Love these old photos of Amsterdam. And this I found on Wikipedia. Just typing in the name of this canal. Okie dokie. Oops, better not move you around too quickly. So. Here's somebody who we... That's what we call Amsterdamaged, by the way. That guy staggering past. Very Amsterdamaged today. Okie dokie. Now here is a... hey, Chloe. Yeah. Okay, now here we go. Another little alleyway. And this little alleyway, actually you see just down here are red light district windows. There's a tiny red light district window area here, which means I'm going to just walk past quickly. And I'm going to point the camera to the ground so that the women know I'm not trying to, and I've just got my hand here so that they don't think I'm trying to film them in any way.
They did a comparative analysis too.
Actually, there's nobody there, but rather safe than sorry. Okay. Because what I wanted to get through to is here. This rather wonderful church here. This is the Dominican church. Now, there was a long period of time when it was illegal to be openly Catholic. So if you were Catholic and you wanted to have a church, it had to be hidden away. And there was actually a hidden church here. It was called the City Hall of Hoorn, Hoorn. And then when it was illegal to be openly Catholic again, what happened is that they got Pierre de Kuipers, who's the guy who designed the Rijksmuseum, as well as Central Station, and many churches in the 1880s to design this church. And he was very keen on his neo-Gothic stuff. Yeah, it was called, the hidden church, Natalie, was called de Stadhuis van Hoorn. So the City Hall of Hoorn. So yeah, look at these wonderful sort of neo-Gothic motifs here, and of course the circular window up there. You can actually go inside this church. It's not terribly difficult. I mean, you could always just go to a service. But there's also meditation days on Monday, and they have different things happening. So yeah, it's nice. It's very beautiful inside. An absolute picture. Okay, now that we've left that street. Okay, so just with the church, I went inside years ago and I was trying to find those photographs, and I couldn't. They're too deeply buried in Google Photos. I went through years and years and years and years and years. Anyway, we made it through the second part of the red light district without offending anybody, happily. And the reason I wanted to come here is to show you this lovely corner where the local neighborhood always have a beautiful display of seasonal flowers and things. At the moment it's tulips, and that's because of the season, obviously, but they have great big pumpkins and things like that at that time of year. It rained heavily, so the tulips haven't done, some of the leaves have come off, but here are the remnants of some parrot tulips, named parrots because of these crazy wacky leaves that they have. And this is typical of the Triumph group. The great big tall standing tulips with egg-shaped flowers. I love this color combo the best. And look at the raindrops. The raindrops on the petals. It's almost like these are a few of my favorite things. Dawn, I would love to plant a slicey, but you know what? I forgot to bring one. But there will be a quiz later to win a slicey. So I've prepared a quiz question. And the quiz question, the answer is something that I will have already mentioned during the tour. So these are also the Triumph group. But look at these interesting edges. They're not fringed, but they've got almost like a feathered edge. It's really so lovely what they do here every year. I was on an all-day countryside windmill tour today, and we went to the farm, and oh my goodness, their tulip fields are phenomenal still, which is almost unbelievable. So late in the season. I love these lily ones. The lily tulips were the favorite of Suleiman the Magnificent. Let's just say he had fabulous taste in tulips. A real tree. There's like almost like a tree sculpture thing here. And so yeah, that's real wood. I'm not sure, maybe it's just, it looks like it's carved to an extent, so I'm not entirely sure. It's like a tangle of roots, but it's not roots. And what else have we got? I have planted slices here before, by the way. Check out these beautiful fringe tulips here. These ones that almost look like roses that have been dipped in icing. Also, I think they always remind me just a little bit of frozen margaritas. Oh, carnations, yeah. And actually these ones, these fringe ones, I have exactly these in a pot outside my house I bought from the farmers last year, and I was in their field of exactly these. And you know what I'm going to do, actually? I'm not even sure if, yes, I think I did put it in the description. I'll post on my and Lee's Facebook group later, I'll post a picture of the field of these. And my pot of them outside my house. To show you what they're looking like. Of course, here's the Purple Prince. Named after Prince. And more of the lily ones. I mean, it's just phenomenal that on the 7th of May we still have tulips in bloom. It's just been such a cold spring, but that has this great big benefit. Remarkable. And probably my favorite daffodil combination of color, which is a really creamy colored flower and then a sort of a very, very light peachy trumpet. How pretty is that? So yeah, here we are on SIngel. SIngel meaning belt. And this was part of the U-shaped defense canal of Amsterdam. So let's take a wander up SIngel. It is a beautiful display, Tony. Oh, was it your birthday, Natalie? I'm so happy belated birthday. But I can show you. So these flowers are for you. Okay. And look at these street lamps. They're lovely in Amsterdam. They're actually halogen lamps, but they burn to look like old gas lamps. Very nicely done. And just because this is Amsterdam, and you know, we need to be practical as well, here we have one of the famous pissoirs, the men's urinal, just tucked away there. So you can relieve yourself with some relative privacy. Buy a donkey, Mark. Buy a donkey is Afrikaans for thank you. My Dutch is a lot better than my Afrikaans, by the way. But I'm just loving this evening light, isn't it great? And check out the really nice vegetation roof of this houseboat. Let me just lean over and give you a close-up. So this is the type of thing on the roof. Whoopsie. There's succulents. And let's head up this way a little further. Lovely sky. You didn't know I spoke Afrikaans? Well, I grew up in South Africa, so I learned it as a second language. But now my Dutch has eclipsed my Afrikaans because Dutch is so much more complicated than Afrikaans. And the pronunciation is different as well, so it's quite difficult to switch back. But I think Dutch is a lovely language, I really do. And I'm not joking. Like, people often make fun of it because of a lot of the sounds. But what I love about it the most is the wonderful expressions. Uitdrukkingen, we call them here. Idioms, I guess they're called. There's so many very cool ones. And one of my favorite ones, just to give an example of how colorful the Dutch language is when people speak it, is say you're fidgeting around, yeah? And in English, somebody might go, oh, stop fidgeting, or do settle down. Here they will say, kan je je ei niet kwijt? Which means literally, can't you lose your egg? Like you're a chicken that's clucking and fussing around trying to find a place to lay, but you can't quite find anywhere, so you just carry on looking. You know, it's just, there's so many things like that. Thanks, it is a beautiful light this evening, Claire. It's almost like they should have painters here. Oh, they do. So there are loads and loads of those. And, you know, I have a Dutch partner who just uses stuff like that all the time and doesn't even realize it. Oh, look, there's even a nice reflection in the back of the car here. Beautiful. Hey, look, here I am. Hey, with the hat. So, yeah, it's a very nice sky, isn't it? Very dramatic. And before I've come too far. It's all one thing planning a route and everything, but then you actually need to stick to it. Okay, let's go back a little. Hey, look, there's a kind of a bright patch there. Doe maar, oh yes, that's another nice one. Doe maar normaal, dan doe je gek genoeg. This is another Dutch expression, and it says, just be normal, basically because you being normal is actually crazy enough. But that's shortened to just, ja, doe normaal. Or doe even gewoon. Yeah, I do like that as well. It's a nice one. Okay, so here is a cute little alleyway that I intend to go up. And look at this very, very, very higgledy-piggledy little house on the corner. So quite a narrow house with this very, very, very strange little add-on piece here. Must be quite a very small, but a very nice little room, I would think. I just love the reflection of houses in windows of other houses. Okay, now this is called Koggestraat. Koggestraat. As I said, you know, it's a strange sounding language. Koggestraat. A kog is, as far as I know, is a cog, like one of the old ships that we used, very important ships. And up on the wall here is a piece of art. It's Tom, of Tom and Jerry, by a graffiti, well, artist, I guess you could say graffiti, called Street Art Frankie, Frankey. And, oh, Susan's mentioning buy me a coffee. Yes, if you want to donate to my cause, you can buy me a coffee. I think that I put that in the description of the tour. I think there's the buy me a coffee link and the PayPal, my PayPal link, if that works better for you. So yeah, I can see why this would be called Koggestraat, because it was very much about trade. Here is the Koggeschip, it's Koggeschip, and these are very typical warehouses, and certainly the ones from there down are typical 1600s warehouses. So this is very much a working part of town. And let's have a look at a couple of details down here. Hello. There are various bits and pieces of detail. So this one here, yeah, 1898. So it is a bit more recent than the other ones, but you can see that with the level of detail. And the shapes are slightly different, but this one here looks much, much earlier. And there are two decorations here. There's a bear. Tariq, are you still with us? There's a bear. And here is a climbing billy goat that I've looked these up, and I know there seems to be no record of why there's particularly a bear or a climbing billy goat. There just is a bear and a climbing billy goat. So there you go. Which I think feeds into this thing that I have, is that you don't always have to know the reason for everything. It's okay not to know. And here is a golden hand. It also goes back a very long way. And also, nobody's got the faintest idea why. Well, that's okay. If you do know why, let me know. And buildings like this are definitely in multiple occupancy, as you can see down here, from the huge number of doorbells. But that's great, you know. This is how the city should be. Lots of locals living in it and making the best use of the space. A glove maker, maybe, who knows? But they were warehouses, so I'm not entirely sure. Let me try, oh, there we go, that's better. 1718, and Ooh, this is open. A little restaurant here. Italian restaurants on the corner. There used to be such a nice Italian beer bar here. And the guy left years ago. I have to give this a look in. Okay, so where are we up to? I wasn't sure how far we were going to make it today, and we have made it this far. So, before the quiz question, let's do the quiz question. And so this is a quiz for a slicey. And I wrote it down somewhere. I've got a piece of paper somewhere. I'll get it right. So the first person to answer this correctly gets a slicey posted to them. And if you already have a slicey and you win, you can, of course, nominate the next person down the list to get it if you like. So the quiz question for today is, okay, earlier we crossed a very wide street that, as I mentioned, had actually previously been a canal. Why did they fill it in? What for? Why did they fill in the very wide street that's now a canal that's now a very wide street? It was done for a purpose. Yay! Peter! Peter Heisman from Toronto. So, Peter, I'm not sure if you're a regular on these, but I have cheese slicers, and I put googly eyes on them, and they look really funny. And then I post them to you. So if you email me your address and the email in the description, markethatdamnguide.com, I will post a slicey off to you. Okay, sure, I can pass that on to the next. Who was after Peter? Michelle Gillis. So, Michelle, if you contact me in that way, I will post that off to you. Great. Okay, well, let's show you some more cool stuff. Okay. And one day I'm going to have to get a Zoom meeting going for all the slices together. What do you think? Now let's try and Zoom this. I'm still haven't quite got my, oh God, haven't quite managed to get this YouTube Zoom. Oh, I wanted to go out. Oh, come on, work with me. Ah, there we go. Okay. Now this is one of my favorite buildings in town. And it's got a hell of a story. Okay, it's from the 1600s. It's Dutch Renaissance style. Let's see, it's first 20 years of the 1600s. So let's see the date on the side. 1614, perfect. It's called de Gouden Spiegel. Oh, this basically is known as the Silveren Spiegel, the silver mirror. And just trying to get far away enough from it so you can see it well. Now, obviously it goes back hundreds of years, but the period of history I really want to talk about is from the Second World War period. By the way, the big building next to it is the Lutheran Church, which is not the Lutheran Church anymore. It's a conference center, but never mind that. Okay, the story about this building here. During the Nazi occupation, the building behind me, which is covered in scaffolds, so there's no point in showing it to you. And anyway, it's not the same building because the one during the Second World War was broken down. But it was a newspaper that was taken over by the Nazis, and it was a Nazi sympathizing newspaper. And the Volk, I think it was called. And opposite here was a cafe, and the woman running it was an Austrian woman. Her name was Wies Hoffmann, and all these Germans would come and drink in her cafe. And she hated Hitler. She didn't like them being there, but she kept them kind of entertained and putting on a broad German accent. And she had a Jewish friend, Barend de Hond, and he said to her, well, he was worried. He was almost taken away in the first of the roundups, the razzias, And he said to her, look, he was in the demolition of buildings, that was his job. And he said that he had worked out a way that he could make 8 hiding places in the top of this building for him and his family to hide. And was she okay with that? She was this young woman in her 30s, and she said yes. So he actually made crawl-away hiding places for him and his family. And sorry, there's a whole people milling around me trying to find a red light district. Hang on. Okay, let me get out their way. And so that's what happened. So it wasn't just 8 people. It ended up with 16 of them hiding upstairs, with all these Germans drinking downstairs. And it's not like they had big walk-around places or anything like that. They really were hiding places. She had something of a drinking problem. She would get very drunk and she'd pass out. And then Barend would have to come downstairs and put her to bed and close up so that they could actually come out of their hiding places. Close the shutters. There were obviously shutters inside as well. So that they could then stretch their legs for want of anything else, but also just move around, use the toilet. And they would do resistance stuff, forging of things. One of them died because of an infection. At some point, some of them managed to go elsewhere, so there were just 8. Now, Barend used to sneak downstairs. The Germans used to back a truck into this alleyway here as a parking space, and he would sneak downstairs and come out the side door here and then steal any food from the back of the truck that he could. Apparently, he once dragged half a horse up there, which was probably quite a number of meals worth. The doorman from the newspaper opposite, his wife used to teach the children in hiding, give them lessons. So it wasn't like people didn't know what was going on. Some people knew. And they were actually raided 6 times. 6 times. And each time, Wies managed to push a little button so that they knew there were people that were being raided, and everyone would actually hide away somewhere up there. And they talk about these boots, kind of jack boots, kind of stomping up the stairs, and they actually managed to hide away successfully, all of them. They think it was, they were informed by some Dutch women who were having relationships with German soldiers living next door. Those women, like so many after the war, were vilified and had their heads shaved and that type of thing and paraded through the streets. And Wies was, she was recognized as righteous among the nations, and they had a big party for her afterwards. There's some photographs of that outside after the war. She didn't live for much longer, tragically. But what a story, and now it's a very, very fancy restaurant. I've asked them, is there anything left upstairs in the attic? And they said, no, that's all gone. It's all been renovated and renovated and renovated over the years. But yeah, every building in Amsterdam tells a story. And let's have a little peek through the window. As I said, it's a very fancy restaurant. It's very expensive. I haven't actually got round to breaking the bank yet and dining here, but there's somebody's bicycle in the middle of the restaurant. If the walls could talk, absolutely. Okay, so, and just to end with, let's go back to this street here. This was also a field and canal. And yeah, it's a really cool little area, this actually. Really, all of Amsterdam in the centre is a really cool little area, I suppose, but maybe I'm just a little bit biased. And there was a bunch of guys around me earlier, and they were looking for this local little red light district, because I know I walked through just a little bit of it, but there's more down there. So there are actually 3 red light districts in Amsterdam. And, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to walk up to where I want to start the next one. Because I'm kind of enjoying this thing about finishing in one place and then starting in that place again on the next tour. So that'll be next Monday. From next week I've shifted to Mondays because Sundays are getting a bit crowded on the calendar. And I think it's nice to spread things out over different days of the week. And yeah, so any last questions?
Hola. How much is that?
How much is what?
The thing. I want to buy it too. I'm a YouTuber.
Okay, we're live on YouTube now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, say hello.
Okay, shit. No.
But no, don't swear though. Okay.
Oh, I'm not gonna swear.
Okay.
How
Well,
are
I'm
you,
just
though?
I'm doing little history walks in Amsterdam.
That's nice.
And this is a bunch of
Who's
people
this, though?
watching online. These are people who
How
watch
much
every
people
week.
are
No,
watching?
no.
No, sorry. How much?
No, 57.
That's cute. Hey, 57 people. Hey,
Yay.
thank you guys.
Okay. Bye.
Love you. So sorry.
Enjoy your time here. Clearly, 57 people is not enough for Madame. So, beautiful evening light. Look at this. I was going to end, but actually, let's enjoy the evening light here. So, the Stromarkt is what this place is called. And let me just check. No red light district windows. No. And yeah, I'm going to start here next week. So I won't show you too much detail, but I've just seen some very nice detail. And yeah, back to the SIngel Canal. Okay, everybody, that was funny. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining. And if you want to join in my group, if you haven't already, then there's a link in the description. Maybe just pan around and get a nicer background. I think most of you are in the group already. Yeah, I'm enjoying these in detail tours also, definitely. I work Mondays, so if you could continue to post. Of course, I am, yeah, these just automatically post. That's how you set it if you wish. And yeah, I'm very happy to post them so people can watch them later. So thanks for joining, everybody. I'm going to head off and I'm going to try that bar where there's the guy that leaves the really funny responses. So bye all.